Hello, everyone. Welcome. I wanted to talk about a topic that I think is really interesting that I've been hearing a lot about, which is ironic because we're not even 2 years into the uh, presidential term of Donald Trump, but we're hearing discussions a lot about the 2028 election and on the Republican side who should be the president in 2028. And I just wanted to discuss what I thought about that and, how that may be good or bad for us to basically just have a select candidate before voters get a chance to discuss that and put their voices to that. And let's talk about it. So we hear quite a bit of notable names from Erica Kirk to, I believe even Tucker Carlson and some others have discussed that JD Vance should succeed Donald Trump as president in 2028. Now, I found this interesting and kind of unorthodox because, we're not even halfway through President Trump's presidential term, and we're already talking about 2028 and who should be president then. And, I just found that that's definitely a first. And, I can see the appealing thought behind that, but I think that JD Vance, I will say that he is someone who is qualified to be president in 2028. I think he articulates himself very well. I think that he has a strong belief system, and I think that while he is not President Donald Trump in personality, I will say that he as a candidate has shown that he is willing to take on leadership, and as vice president he's done that very well, and he do have leadership qualities, and I think he would be a good candidate for the 2028 election. However, I don't think that we should be all just coming together as Republicans and saying, "Yep, that's going to be the candidate. It's going to be JD Vance against whoever the Democrats choose." I think that's a bad thing to do, because we should learn from the 2024 election that just choosing, a candidate without the voters getting a say in that is not the best strategy. It didn't work out well for Democrats when they chose Kamala Harris and just say, "Yep, she's going to be the candidate," and the Democratic voters never got to lend their voice. There was never no alternative of candidates put forward, and I think that's very undemocratic, and we should learn from that situation, and we shouldn't be trying to replicate that. So I hope as Republicans we will not be doing that, and that we will let the voters get to decide who they want as the candidate for the 2028 election. And so I'm going to discuss a bit on, why that's not a good idea, and, some candidates that are also viable for the 2028 election, because in the Republican field we have quite a bit of, very suitable, very well qualified candidates that could be nominated for the 2028 election. And it's interesting to see where they end up at in 3 years, and what their ideals are. But I think we should let them have a chance and not just push one person forward. And so I would say that the reason why it's the number one reason is it's undemocratic. Voters should always be choosing their leaders, because then those leaders are held accountable to the voters. And if we have the party leaders, if we have people who are not elected directly, basically imposing their candidate on voters, that's not a democratic way that we operate in this country. And it's we the people. At the end of the day, our Constitution started off with we the people. We the people get to choose who our leaders are, and we the people get to choose how our government is represented. And so, in the spirit of the law and in the spirit of our Constitution, I think it's really democratic to let the voters choose, put forward as many candidates as you can, let those candidates debate among themselves, and push the best ideals and their vision forward for America, and then let voters choose which vision and which candidate they want to choose to lead their country. And so when we get to a point where we're just having people say, yeah, JD Vance is going to be the one to succeed Donald Trump, like, no, we need to let voters at the end of the day needs to have a say in that. And ultimately, that's what it's going to have to come down to. And now I would put forward some other candidates that I think would be strong suitors for the 2028 election as well, since we're talking about it. I think that Tulsi Gabbard is a good one. I think Tulsi Gabbard has a past of being on the Democratic side and now the Republican side, and she, I think, offers a unique perspective in having a taste of both worlds, if you will. I think she is someone who would be a best candidate for a middle ground approach and bipartisanship. And me personally, I'm going to always support the candidate that wants bipartisanship, because realistically, that's the only way this country's going to function. That's the only way any leader is going to get any change done in this country, is if you have bipartisanship. Whether we like it or not, Democrats are part of the government. Democrat voters are going to make their voices be known, and there are going to be Democrats in parts of the government as well. And so we need to find ways to unify Republicans and Democrats together to make successful change and to have our government function properly. So I say Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's a good candidate. I will say that the one weakness that's hurting her right now is that she does not have, she hasn't really been able to put herself out there because she's leading she's in the office of Director of National Intelligence. And so I don't think she's really been able to articulate herself as well. And so I think that, that's a good thing to have, and I think she should be given a chance, or she should put herself out there more, so that voters can, choose, have a better chance of choosing her based off what they hear, and if they like what they hear, and if they like what she has to offer, and would she be a good leader for this country in 2028. I think that's a weakness that she hasn't been given the opportunity to basically show that yet, but hopefully within the 3 years of her being in the administration, she will be able to do so. Another candidate that I think will be a good candidate is Marco Rubio. Obviously, he's someone that has a lot of senator experience in the Senate, and someone who I thought was his nomination was one of the most strongest bipartisanships efforts. He had 99 senators approve his nomination for Secretary of State, and I think that's just brilliant. I think that shows that he's a strong candidate for bipartisanship, and I think again that's what we're going to need to heal this country and maintain unity and defeat division. And so that's something that I think that's a strong attribute he has. And I think that he has the strongest qualifications when it comes to bipartisanship and leading from a bipartisan standpoint. I also think he has a lot of foreign policy experience. He's been given a great opportunity within the current administration to express that, and I think that he is doing a really good job at that right now. And I think that he's a well-seasoned politician, and I think he will be a great candidate for the 2028 election. Let's see who else. I think that to be honest, I think Erica Kirk could throw her hat in the ring. I think that she has shown great poise and she's shown great grace and she articulates herself very well. She's obviously in a leadership position now at Turning Point USA, and I think that will give her within 3 years the chance to show Americans what a leader could look like with her. And I think she also has great qualifications as being someone who champions conservative values as well. And again, I think it would be great if she decided to throw her hat in the ring. I think that would be a great female candidate to have. And again, I think she's qualified, not just being a female, but she also have experience from seeing her husband Charlie Kirk debate people, and just from what I've saw how she's portrayed herself in the media, I think she would be a great candidate who would know how to answer questions and engage with voters. I would say that a weakness would be so far as that she has not I don't know that she has a bipartisan background. I haven't seen her engage with Democrats or liberals in that regard, or independents. And so I think she would be a good candidate, but it would be beneficial for her to show within the 3 years that she has that she can gain some bipartisan relationships and interactions. I think that another one would be Caroline Leavitt. I think that she's done a pretty good job being the White House press secretary, and that she's shown that she has good debate skills and she can articulate herself very well. And I think that she is someone who believes very strongly in her conservative values, and she did try to run for Congress a few years ago. And I think that she's shown that she can withstand criticism and can respond well in the heat of the moment from the criticism of the media and those who criticize her personally. I think she's shown that she has made herself very qualified for what her current position is right now. And it would be interesting if she gets to show more leadership. I think that's a weakness that she hasn't gotten to show yet, is leadership. And she hasn't really shown a willingness for bipartisanship. So I would say that that's a weakness that she still has 3 years to build on. And so I think that she would be a good candidate as well. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of good candidates even outside of Trump's administration. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. I mean, there's a lot of good candidates, and I think we should be, fostering people who want to run, having an open mind to people who want to run. And I think it's a good democratic process that gets to show America the diversity we have within the Republican Party. And I think it's also a good idea for those candidates to showcase their ideals, showcase their vision, put their vision forward, and work to earn the nomination from the voters, and that they can earn their place as becoming president and not just have that handed to them on a silver spoon. I think it didn't work out very well for Kamala Harris on the Democrat side, and if they do that again in 2028, I don't think they're going to do very well in that election either. And I think we as Republicans should learn from that situation. Don't replicate that situation. However, it will be really interesting to see how this unfolds, and to see what other candidates come forward, and if other good candidates come forward, I wouldn't mind discussing them as well. But I also think that we should try to stay focused on the current administration and try to make the current administration as successful as possible. Because if we don't have a successful current administration with the Trump team and the candidates that are part of his administration, it's going to be harder for them to build momentum and voter support. If the administration doesn't do well, that's going to be a bad record for them. And so I think we should try to stay focused on the current administration and try to make our president as successful as possible, but also be willing to call out the things that our current president does as well, so that we have values that are consistent and that voters will be more likely to support our candidates in 2028 if we show that we're consistent, there are values that we align with, and we have a vision for what we want for America as Republicans. And so I'm hoping that we'll continue to make this administration as successful as possible, and good luck to all the candidates for 2028. I think it'll be a very interesting competitive primary on the Republican side if we stick to that and allow that to play out. And it'll be good for the voters, it'll be good for the party, and overall it'll be good for the country. And so I look forward to seeing what happens and what unfolds, and let's support all our candidates and let it be open to anyone who wants to join. And so I'm Artist Jackson signing off. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.